Is reincarnation real? Welcome back to another episode of Higher Purpose Experiment. This is Zen.
And this is Emmy. Today we're going to talk about some seriously compelling research that's been done on reincarnation. Some of the most compelling research on reincarnation comes from Dr. Ian Stevenson and his successor, Dr. Jim Tucker, whose lives were dedicated to applying strict scientific protocols to either validate or invalidate thousands of cases of children who've claimed to remember past lives.
Dr. Stevenson was the chairman of the Department of Psychiatry at the University of Virginia's med school and worked at the school for over 50 years. As he went through his career, Stevenson became internationally known for his research into reincarnation and also the idea that memories, emotions, and things like birthmarks can be transferred from one life to another.
Stevenson was extremely meticulous in his investigation of each and every case. He needed to determine if what the child recalled actually matched the intimate details of the life of the person who had lived and died prior. Stevenson would take the child to the city where the past life occurred, and the child could point out specific places, dates. They could point out names, nicknames, and very personal and intimate relational details when meeting with friends and family of the deceased, and so on.
Stevenson wrote in a highly academic manner, presenting witnesses, sources of information, having subjects sign affidavits and take lie detector tests, all to ensure that the evidence would be accepted by the scientific community.
Stevenson actually co-founded the Society for Scientific Exploration in 1982. He also authored 300 papers and 14 textbooks on the topic of reincarnation. His major work was the 2,300-page, 2-volume Reincarnation and Biology, a Contribution to the Etiology of Birthmarks and Birth Defects, which he published in 1997. This reported over 200 cases of birthmarks that correspond to a wound on a deceased person whose life the child had recalled.
So a few examples of this include children with missing or malformed fingers who recall the lives of people who also had missing fingers, a child with a scar around her skull 3 centimeters wide who said she recalled the life of a man who had skull surgery. And then there's a boy who had birthmarks resembling entrance and exit wounds who said he recalled the life of someone who had been shot.
In the case of this boy who said he had recalled the life of someone who had been shot, he actually had a birthmark on his throat. Now, when Stevenson checked with the sister of this deceased person, the little boy claimed to be, and she confirmed that her brother had shot himself in the throat right where that little boy's birthmark was. Now, Stevenson thought maybe there would be another birthmark representing the exit wound, which was at the top of the head. And when they checked beneath the little boy's hair, sure enough, there was a birthmark there.
In reviewing Stevenson's book, Cases of the Reincarnation Type, which was from 1975, the Journal of American Medical Association stated, in regard to reincarnation, he has painstakingly and unemotionally collected a detailed series of cases in which the evidence is difficult to explain on any other grounds than reincarnation.
Astronomer Carl Sagan once said, "There are 3 claims in the parapsychology field which, in my opinion, deserve serious study, with the third being that young children sometimes report details of a previous life which upon checking turn out to be accurate and which they could not have known about in any other way than reincarnation.
This isn't a new phenomenon, but Dr. Steven brought it into academia. You could find anecdotal cases all over the web and news outlets that'll give you chills. One widely covered case is the story of James Leininger, a 2-year-old boy who kept telling his parents that his plane had crashed and he'd been shot down by the Japanese. He'd give shockingly specific details about nightmares of this plane crash and all sorts of details about the war and specific battles, and he was explaining that his plane had flown down from the Natoma. The boy later saw a photo of Iwo Jima and said that's where his plane had been shot down and crashed. He also said that he was the third James. His dad purchased a few books and did some research to find that the USS Natoma Bay was actually a World War II aircraft carrier that was involved in the Battle of Iwo Jima, and there was one pilot from the Natoma that was killed named James Houston Jr., which, if that was his past life, that would make him the third James. In addition, the boy was speaking of his friend named Jack Larson and other folks from his crew. And it turned out that there was another pilot named Jack Larson who was still alive, and the boy and his family were able to attend the Natoma Bay reunion where James and his former crew members reunited and shared mutual recognition of memories and all sorts of intimate details. For James's father, Bruce, this actually initially caused some internal struggle for him as it conflicted with his beliefs as a conservative Christian. But the details his son provided were beyond belief. The details of this story would give anybody chills, but they are definitely beyond the scope of this video.
This topic reaches far beyond Dr. Ian Stevenson's work, and we'll be diving into it much deeper in future videos.
We'll be covering evidence and cross connections from things like past life regression research, near-death experience research, mediumship, plant medicines, which also support reincarnation. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Higher Purpose Experiment. We put out 3 videos per week, so be sure to subscribe if you enjoy our content.
Yes, and also please join our Facebook group. We're a growing community of spiritually awakening individuals, and we'd love for you to be one of them. And that's all we have for you.
That's all I've got.
All right, see you
Much
in your
love,
next
guys.
life. Woo! Laughing, you break out laughing.
You. It's so cute. It's funny.
No, it's not.
Oh,